What's up, everybody? It's pretty early in the morning where I am. It's only 10 minutes past 6 in the morning, but I got up. I want to give God thanks for life, strength, and health. You can see in the back there, I was sleeping on the couch instead of in my bed. But I want to show you guys something because it was going through my mind last night with the discussion with Get This Smoke. We have some really good discussions on boxing, and one of them is how fighters how can you assess top tier fighters in a division, right? Top tier fighters in a division, and all top tier means, like I was saying, is just it just means top level fighters, the A level, the top level fighters, not necessarily A level, but top level fighters in a division. And he was suggesting that they be ranked 1 to 5, and I was saying they should be ranked 1 to 10, or I was suggesting 1 to 10 because that's what I usually see when I'm looking at whether it's sanctioning bodies or whether it's um, how fighters are classed in divisions by the ring. I use the ring because the ring has a long history of going all the way back to 1921 or 1922. Okay, I think the oldest sanctioning body is really the NYSAC. I think that came out before the NBA. I think that came out in 1921. I think the ring came out in 1922, if I'm not mistaken. And because of the old history of these bodies, um, I usually depend on the what the NYSAC, the New York State Athletic Commission, is still around, but it evolved into what is known as the World Boxing Commission, or the World Boxing Council, sorry, WBC. So the WBC's parent is the NYSAC, okay? And the WBA's parent is the NBA, which came out the year after the NYSAC. Okay, these sanctioning bodies were there to kind of regulate how boxing occurred. And around that same time, the Ring magazine came out. It was this prestigious magazine which sort of collated boxers into a certain status. Pound for Pound came a little bit later. I think Sugar Ray Robinson, as you know, inspired Pound for Pound. But they kind of retroactively did Pound for Pound as well. So as pound for pound at 7 points, I think Mike Tyson, I think easy pound for pound, the ring actually started activating pound for pound, something like that. I can't remember how it goes. But Roy Jones Jr., it stopped for a while, and then Roy Jones Jr. came on the scene and inspired pound for pound to come back. Anyways, all of that is irrelevant to what we were going to talk about, which is top tier boxers. And the question is, the argument that Get This Smoke was making was that he does top tier 5 because he says the top 10 of any division don't really necessarily fight each other anymore. I think that was his basic argument, and I just want to put that to the test here. And right now I have in my hands a little cell phone, which is not, actually, is it powered? Oh, okay, great. Alright, so the cell phone, am I on camera or something? What's going on here? Weird shit happens on my phone. Oh, okay. Oh, fuck. The problem with electronic devices is they're not always fucking dependable. So what happens is I saved up everything and then the fucking phone will just suddenly blank out or some shit like that. And this is an old phone. Okay, there you go. We're good. Alright, so if you look at, I still use the Ring magazine for a number of things because their data goes all the way back to 1922. So I like to use them for that reason, okay? But just to show you how their rankings are not they're not strange or wandering so far away from what general consensus is. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the heavyweight division. We're going to look at the welterweight division currently, their rankings, and then we're going to look at how many of the people in the welterweight division, how deep down the top 10 have these fighters faced each other. Why I want to say that is because obviously you can only fight one fighter at a time. So you can't expect all the guys down the division to fight each other. And the other thing that is kind of basic that I listen to Get the Smoke say is that you have to fight somebody in the top 10 who is above you to move up. And that's not true. You can fight a guy who's in the top 10 And because you fought the guy in the top 10, whereas everybody else in the top 10 may not have fought somebody in the top 10, you move up because you fought a harder opponent. Depending again on how you performed and all of that stuff. There's a lot of factors that determine how somebody moves up a ranking. All right. So you have So how exciting you are. And let me tell you why. If you look at, for instance, Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford hasn't faced a top 10 welterweight, right? But Terence Crawford is placed in the top 10 almost immediately as he enters the top 10 because of his prior work in other divisions. You can't ignore a boxer's history and what they have done. So you have to look at that. And that's what placed Terence Crawford almost immediately when she jumped up to welterweight into the top 10. Why? He was undisputed fucking super junior welterweight world champion. You gotta factor that in. Okay? You have to. Okay? And the sanctioning bodies would do that, as well as you have to assess him that way. And the other thing that you look at is his performances. No matter if he's fighting cab drivers, if he's doing what he's supposed to do and getting rid of them quickly, then you have to place him in the top 10 because he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's showing that he's a top tier level fighter. Remember, we're talking about top tier means all it means is top level fighter. All right? You may be a B level fighter in terms of skill or in terms of draw or in terms of your basic all-round boxing game, right? It's not just skill, but the other attributes. You may be B level. That means you're average in almost everything. Like Timothy Bradley there was nothing he really did well, but he was B level in skills and he was B level and he had incredible work regimen, which was the A level. But at the end of the day, his performances were not B level. They were very entertaining. 1, 2, he produced wins over outstanding ATGs and Hall of Famers, right? He beat 2 all-time greats. We won't dispute that. Juan Manuel Marquez is an all-time great. If you don't think so, then fine. But you know one thing, and this will become fact. It's not fact yet. He's a sure-footed Hall of Famer. You just look at what Juan Manuel Marquez fought, the people Juan Manuel Marquez beat. Just the career performances of Juan Manuel Marquez, you gotta place him there. All right? And he's beaten some legendary fighters. Not just Manny Pacquiao, by the way. Marquez also beat Marco Antonio Barrera. He beat, the list goes on and on if you really look. And the guys he fought as well is just remarkable. He also faced Timothy Bradley. I could go into it in more detail later, but that's so. Anyway, the point is that Juan Manuel Marquez is a top tier boxer, but he's no longer in boxing. He's retired from boxing. Okay, he may come back. But he's no longer in boxing. Okay, so let's look at the rankings via the ring first. This is the current rankings. First of all, since Get the Smoke was talking about the heavyweight division, I'm going to look at the heavyweight division. I think you can see that there quite clearly. It's going to be in reverse for me, but for you guys, it's going to be something else, right? So I'm just going to scroll through and tell you. Now, first of all, there's no lineal champion in that division, according to the ring. Okay? Now, Tyson Fury claims he's the lineal champion. All right. Now, how do you get a lineal championship if the guy that abdicated lineal championship he abdicates undefeated? Well, the top 2 highest ranked guys face each other. That's why I said you don't have to beat the guy above you to move up the rankings. The top 2 guys in the division will face each other, and whoever wins that becomes ring champion. Now, ring champion is not necessarily lineal champion, but usually the ring magazine awards that title to the lineal champion. Now, what is the lineal champion? The lineal champion is just the man that beats the man. And there are a number of times in history where we didn't have a lineal champion, right? Rocky Marciano was a lineal champion, but he was never defeated, which means what? Which means you have to continue the lineal championship. How? Again, the top 2 guys go face each other, and one of them turns out to be the lineal champion. So not always does the lineal champion, the man, beat the other man. Okay? It doesn't always go like that. Okay? Okay, so in a case where a guy just ends up not as a champion, not getting defeated. There's many occasions. I can tell you, Carlos Monzon is another example. You have there are many examples in history, right? Because you have many undefeated champions. They became champions, but they are undefeated as champions. Doesn't mean that their whole career they were undefeated, but as champions they were undefeated. See, there's all this kind of little catch-22 things about boxing. All right. Anyway, that's why I try to be as careful as I possibly can with my wording, because there's a lot. Okay. Anyway, so there's no lineal champion. Okay, I think you guys can see this on the camera. All right. So let's scroll down. Now, according to the Ring, currently, they have Tyson Fury as the #1 heavyweight in the world. Now, the order in which this is not exactly precise, but that's okay. I'll tell you why. The Ring is going to have a different order to say, for instance, I'm going to go with BoxRec next. There are other sites out there besides the Ring and BoxRec, which also do rankings. There are also recent things like BoxRec. They do their own rankings and stuff. But there's Tyson Fury. He's #1. Remember this. Deontay Wilder, he's #2. Now, Deontay Wilder, obviously, he faced Tyson Fury. So we are assuming that the top 5 face each other, right? Then you have Andy Ruiz Jr. He's at #3 according to the Ring. And the reason he's not #3 is because he faced Anthony Joshua, who's at #4. And he beat Anthony Joshua. So he took his spot. Even though Anthony Joshua, according to the Ring, was ranked #1. That was probably before Tyson Fury came back on the scene. I don't know. Then we have Dillian White at #5. Dillian White, obviously, he faced Anthony Joshua and lost. So the top 5 have faced each other. Not all of them have faced all of each other, but they have faced somebody in the top 5 has faced somebody in the top 5, right? Let's keep it moving. Top 6. Luis Ortiz is #6, and guess what? Luis Ortiz, who's #6, has faced Deontay Wilder, who's #2. All right. So Luis Ortiz at #6 has faced one of has faced one of the top guys there. Alexander Povetkin. Oh yeah, today's trash day. I think I should go and speed out and come back. I'll be right back. I don't think I'll make it. I'll try. Okay. Yay. Take my bed up. I'm coming, guys. I'm coming. Hold on a second. Okay, so back to what we were saying. So the next, I don't know what happened. We're good. So Alexander Povetkin faced Anthony Joshua, who's at #4. So Povetkin has faced Anthony Joshua, and Joseph Parker has faced Dillian White, and he's faced Anthony Joshua. And Joseph Parker is at #8. So 1 through 8 has faced each other. Okay? And some of them have moved up, and some of them have moved down. Okay? Now, this is the current top 10, by the way. Adam Kawanaki has not. He entered the top 10 because of his performances so far and how he has been performing versus other performances in the many different weight class in the weight class. Okay, Usyk's not in the top 10 either, and Kubrat Pulev, he has fought a number of well-known fighters. He's also, I think, regular WBA champion at heavyweight, so that's why he's listed in the top 10. All right. So again, upward mobility, and this has been so through history, upward mobility into the top 10 happens because of your performances. If you're consistently winning, if you know how you are winning consistently, that's what puts you into the top 10. Now, you don't have to be undefeated, but you know, if you're winning, you're going to move up, right? You know, it's not easy to win consecutive fights, no matter what people say in boxing. It doesn't matter who you're facing. It's not easy to just win consecutive fights in a row. That takes consistency, dedication to the sport of boxing. In fact, I was listening to who was it? I think it was Teofimo Lopez's father talk about how people have to be committed. It's boxing is a sport. I think it's Paulie Malignaggi actually, or is it Sergio? It could have been Sergio Moro. I can't remember which one it was. But we're talking about people need to be committed. You have to be 100% committed to the sport of boxing. You can't, you know. Oh, no. It was Jonathan Banks. It was Jonathan Banks yesterday. The EJ Boxing Live. Shout out to EJ Boxing Live. Shout out to Get the Smoke. Shout out to Unrivaled Boxing, who was on EJ Boxing Live. Shout out to Tommy Tempera at this point in time as well. Shout out to all you guys for hosting these hangouts because they're really good. I have to probably get a laptop to host the hangouts. And Tommy Tempera was telling me I could actually monetize by actually working through a different site. So I'll have to talk to Tommy Tempera more about that because I definitely want to monetize this. But anyway, back to what we were saying. So basically what I'm saying is that upward mobility into the top 10, just as upward mobility into the top 5, doesn't necessarily happen because you're beating somebody in the top 10. You know, that happens on occasion, but it's kind of like where Keith Thurman is talking about to be a legend, you have to either beat a legend or build your own legacy. So boxers, when you're like number 20 or number 30, you don't get chances to face the top 10 guys. So how do you move up? How have you been moving up the rankings? You've been consistently winning against competition that's more progressively getting supposedly tougher. All right? I talked about levels in the sport of boxing a while back, but you can check Boxing 101, which is one of my playlists, and you will see how levels in boxing works and how a guy goes from a debutante to a world champion. All right? World champion is the entrance into the higher tier levels of boxing, and those higher tier or the higher levels of boxing now begin at world champion. World champion is not the end; it's the beginning. It's kind of like the black belt of boxing, or it's like the master's degree or your first degree in boxing. You've gotten your first degree, which is your bachelor's. Now we're gonna go for the master's. You know what I'm saying? And so you go from a world champion to being a legend in the sport of boxing through how you are able to handle yourself at the championship level. Because there's some who become titleists. There's a difference between a world champion and a titleist, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. This is not something that's established out there in boxing. It's just my opinion now. And so you can go from titleist. Titleist just means somebody who holds a title. But if you haven't successfully defended that title, I can't really call you a world champion, in my opinion. A world champion should be able to defend his title successfully at least once. And then I say you are bona fide because you stayed at the level you were at. It wasn't like you went up, achieved this level, and then dipped back down into contender status or into journeyman status or something like that. No, you rose up and successfully defended your title, okay, showing me that you're a world champion. You're able to stay at that level, at least for one fight. Okay? Now, somebody will say, well, but it depends on the competition you face. Suppose, for instance, you jump up, you become world champion, and then you decide to unify all of you all of a sudden. You didn't defend, you just went straight for unification, and you're fighting somebody at that level. You know, it's not somebody like a tier below you, which would be a contender, who would be a tier below you. Instead, you're fighting somebody. And that's a good point, because, again, we have to look at levels, which is level of opposition. And maybe the guy you're going to face is a legend. You lose to him, you move back down to contender. But the other thing is, if you belong at that level, you're going to get back to that level. So let's say, for instance, you lose your title in your first defense or your first unification, whatever. Then you should be able to acquire back that title, you know, when you fight somebody else. It depends, of course. It depends on if it's a unification that makes somebody undisputed. And then the guy who beats you, you have to face him again. Whatever it is, you have to be able to try. And I guess it's kind of unfair because it depends on what level of opposition you're actually facing. And maybe that level of opposition is one you can't overcome. But at the end of the day, you should be able to, as world champion, stay at that level, world champion level. Now, it can happen that you face a living legend or an all-time great, and therefore you can't really get to that level. You're just a tier below him, in which case, you know, all is forgiven. But for the most part, you should be able to defend that title successfully to stay at that level. It shows that you're at this level. Now, like I said before, you can find a legend or all-time great who's already at a level way above you, and therefore there's nothing you can do about that. You just never get back to being world champion. And remember, back in the day, there was two belts. The NYSEC, especially after 1921, NYSEC and the NBA usually came together, so you call it undisputed. But the thing about it is that usually one guy owned those two titles or held on to it. So you only had one captain of the mountain back then. So it made it boxing a lot more easier to discern the tiers. But just like today, most of the guys in the top 10 didn't just face each other. Most of the guys in the top 5 didn't always face each other, right? You can look at Sugar Ray Robinson's career with, you look at, not him, but I think it was Sammy Angat, or I think it was, no, it wasn't Sammy Angat. I'm trying to remember the guy who never faced Sugar Ray Robinson. He wouldn't face him for fly. He did face some other guys, but he did not face Sugar Ray Robinson. Kept Sugar Ray Robinson out of contention to face him, even though Sugar Ray Robinson was progressively moving into the top 5. It was when that guy abdicated or vacated his belt, Robinson fought for that belt, right? So it's very interesting because Robinson made it all the way up to the number 1 contender and still would not be able to face that dude. And that's another thing. People think that, you know, today the picking and choosing began. No, it was there. That's a part of boxing. Anywho's, my point is, in these top 10 here that the ring showed, in the top 10 heavyweights, 8 of them faced each other. 2 didn't. Those are the 2 that Ring Magazine shows just entered the division. Okay, Jarrell Miller is not seen anywhere in here, and I believe that's because he got suspended. Unless he probably would be in here. Okay, now let's look at BoxRank, their rankings. I'm waiting for a minute. It loaded back up. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to blow it up a little bit. So they have just the order is slightly different. They have Andy Ruiz as number 1. The algorithm is an algorithm that is used to rank these things. There you go. Andy Ruiz Jr. is number 1, as you can see there. Deontay Wilder is number 2, where he was at the ring. Then you have Anthony Joshua, who is at number 3, where he was at number 4, I think. Tyson Fury, who's at number 5. Okay. However they aggregate things. Alexander Povetkin is there. You see the same names. Dillian White is there. Jarrell Miller is at number 7. So Jarrell Miller's in there, whereas Jarrell Miller wasn't in the last one. Luis Ortiz is at number 8, and Kubrat Pulev is at number 9. Joseph Parker is at number 10. Adam Kawanaki is at number 11. All right, but everybody basically it's the same list of top 10. They're just in slightly different order, right? And then you'll notice again, Joseph Parker has faced, like I said, the number 10 has faced the number, whatever Anthony Joshua is, number 4, wherever he is. Kubrat Pulev, he hasn't faced anybody yet. So he's the one that didn't face anybody yet. And Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller was going to face Anthony Joshua, and he screwed that up. And then you have Luis Ortiz, who faced Deontay Wilder. He's at number 7, I think, at number 8. Dillian White has faced Anthony Joshua. He's number 6. Alexander Povetkin has faced Anthony Joshua. Tyson Fury has faced Deontay Wilder. Well, they're the top 5. So the top 5 will face each other for sure. But you'll notice the top 10, if you exempt Jarrell Miller and Kubrat Pulev, and they're still going to face one of those guys. But almost everybody in the top 10 has faced everybody in the top 10. And if you notice, again, the listing is more or less the same, right? Because you see, there's a difference between pound for pound and rankings within a division. You have to list it a certain way because you have all the records of the athletes. So pound for pound is more arbitrary. It's a big list of athletes, and then you pick whoever. But when it comes to divisions, there's only a select set of athletes who are at the top tier or at the top level, and there's nothing you can do about it, And it's just slightly switched around depending on how you are assessing them, all right? But mostly the criteria that you assess them by is their performances, their actual performances, who they've been facing, again, their performances when they face them. That's pretty much it. So if they won, if they lost, how they won. If it's lost by knockout, then that's a bigger thing that makes you go down further. If you lost by split decision, then it's not so much a chip on you, just depending on who you face. If you face somebody in the top 10, then you enter the top 10 and all of that kind of stuff, right? Depends on how you lost to them, though. Because if that guy knocked you the spark out in the first round, it says you didn't even belong in the ring with them. So you're not going to rise that high up as people think. So it's all that kind of stuff. How competitive the fight was, All right, so the manner in which you win or lose. All right, so back to what I was saying. So you see from BoxRec that this is the same, or more or less, as the ring, right? One or two little changes, but it's more or less the same. It's the same set of heavyweights. So that's why top 10 is the one. Now you go top 20, the heavyweights start to enter and disappear, and it gets much more varied. But if you do top 10, which is what they usually do, then that's usually how it goes, because top 10 kind of caters for somebody entering and somebody leaving. All right? And usually it stays that way. Now let's look at the rankings by the ring. Let me pull this back. So I'm going to stay with the ring, because the ring basically has, their rankings are pretty much accurate, all right? Why that's important is because I want you to see that the top 10 guys do face each other. All right? And we're going to look through it through time. We're going to go all the way back, something we'll pick randomly from different decades and stuff. But first, let's look at 2018. If it was any much more different to this listing. And you'll find out a surprising fact. Okay, this is the Ring magazine. I gotta wait for the load up. Now there it is. Load up. Okay, so we're looking at the heavyweight division, all right? It's a heavyweight division here. Ring magazine. I think you'll see it. All right, it's not super clear though. It's blurry. I don't know why. Focus in, man. Focus in. God damn it. Not focusing. Why the camera's doing that? It's focused on me. Anyway. Beside the point. So in 2018, the ring had Anthony Joshua as number 1. Tyson Fury as number 2. Right? Guess what? BoxRec has Tyson Fury as Deontay Wilder is number 2. Okay. Deontay Wilder is number 3. See, Dillian White is number 4. Luis Ortiz is number 5. Alexander Povetkin is number 6. Yeah, are these the same kind of names that we saw? Joseph Parker at number 7. Jarrell Miller was in the top 10. He fell out of it. Adam Kawanaki at number 9. See, very consistent. Kubrat Pulev. So you see, it's almost the same identical list of names going into 2019, except Jarrell Miller's not in the listing for the ring. But Jarrell Miller is in the listing for Bactra. Right? They have their listing. It's the same top 10. And usually year after year, they usually be the same top 10 unless things change, because the guys perform there at a high level. They're basically beating most of the guys that they face. They only have, if anything, 1 or 2 losses on their records. Okay? So this top 10 kind of stays the same throughout time. You know, we're going to move back. I'm going to move it back. Hold on a second. I'm going to go 2017 so you guys can get a good, nice snapshot picture of what I'm talking about. Heavyweight division. In 2017, Tyson Fury actually was the lineal champion. This is 2017. This fucking thing is so blurry. I don't know why. I hate when the fucking technology fails you, man. You know, fucking thing's supposed to. Whatever. Okay, so here's top 10 anyway. Alright? Okay, there you go. It's clear. Tyson Fury was the lineal champion in 2017. They didn't strip him. And then you see here, Anthony Joshua was number 1, which is basically what he was in 2018, just that we didn't have a lineal champion. Deontay Wilder, number 2. Again, it sounds pretty much the same as what's happening now. And then we have here Joseph Parker was number 3. So he fell down the ranks because he lost a couple fights. Alexander Povetkin was number 4. He also lost a couple fights, so he went down the ranks. Luis Ortiz was number 5, which is more or less where Luis Ortiz stays. Kubrat Pulev was number 6. You see all of them faced each other, right? Andy Ruiz Jr. was actually a top 10 fucking heavyweight. Alright? I don't know when he faced Joseph Parker, but anyway. Dillian White was below him. So Dillian White has moved up the ranks. The fuck, man? It's fucking technology. I hate it. I'm an old guy, so that's why. Okay, what we got? Dillian White was number 8. Dominic Brazil was actually a top 10 heavyweight, believe it or not. In 2017, he was number 9, and Jarrell Miller was number 10. Jarrell Miller was now coming on the scene and stuff like that. The point I'm making is that these guys are moving up the ranks. Jarrell Miller didn't fight any top 10 heavyweight as far as I do know. Dominic Brazil fought Deontay Wilder. Dominic Brazil fought Anthony Joshua. Of course, at the time, I think he only fought Anthony Joshua. He just fought Deontay Wilder this year, right? So he only fought Anthony Joshua, I think in 2017. I'm not too sure. Dillian White faced Anthony Joshua, so he was in the top 10. And Andy Ruiz Jr. faced Joseph Parker. Kubrat, and this is from 10 going up, right? The only guy so far who hasn't faced anybody is Jarrell Miller. Kubrat Pulev also hadn't faced any of these guys. So Pulev and Miller consistently are seen in these top 10. They're the only guys that didn't face anybody. But everybody else faced one of the top 10 guys. Okay? Not when they were top 10 necessarily, but they had faced them. Alexander Povetkin had faced Anthony Joshua. Joseph Parker had faced Anthony Joshua. And Dillian White. Did he face Dillian White in 2017? I can't remember. You guys have to tell me. But I know he faced Anthony Joshua. And, no, he hadn't faced Andy. He faced Andy Ruiz Jr. That's what he faced. He was the WBO champion. That's correct. And, yeah. So, there you go. So, again, one of these guys here had faced one of these guys. That's 2017. Okay, for the heavyweight division, let's go a little bit back into time a little bit. I want to show you something. So, let's go to another decade. Let's go, when the heavyweight, let's go with Klitschko was in control. Let's go 2000 and let's say 2009. Okay? Just arbitrarily use 2009. Okay, heavyweight division. Okay. So, in the heavyweight division, I want to show you something, right? Because, you know, they're saying recently, but what does recently mean? That's an arbitrary term, right? Maybe in the last 20 years. Anyway, I want to show you something. So, Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko was the lineal champion at the time, and Vitaly Klitschko was the number one heavyweight in the world. Vitaly never faced Vladimir, right? That doesn't mean anything. Alexander Povetkin was number 2. Eddie Chambers was number 3. Ruslan Chagayev was number 4. David Haye was number 5. Chris Arreola was number 6. Denis Boitovs, whatever the fuck his name is, he was number 7. Nikolay Valuev was number 8. Alexander Dmitrenko, Alexander Dmitrenko, the guy who pretty much dove, he was number 9, and Tony Thompson was number 10, okay? We all know Tony Thompson faced either Vladimir or Vitaly Klitschko, so number 10 faced either 1 or 2. We know Povetkin had faced a number of these guys here. David Haye had faced Vladimir Klitschko. Chris Arreola had faced Klitschko. Ruslan Chagayev, I think eventually he faced Klitschko at some point. I can't remember. So all of these guys, Klitschko was going through the ranks with them. Eddie Chambers, I think, had faced Klitschko. Eddie Chambers faced Klitschko, I think. Oh, something, I can't remember. Nikolay Valuev, I can't remember. I think he faced maybe Dmitrenko. Tony Thompson had faced a number of guys. I think he faced Vladimir, maybe Vitaly as well. He's a guy that used to get beat, so. Right, so the point is, you can see that the top 10 guys, mostly, I don't know for Denis Boit stuff, if he faced anybody, right? You can always check that out. But again, most of the top 10 generally face the top 10. Even facing the number 1 guy, which just kind of worked his way down the ranks. But the point is that usually what you know, the ideal thing is that these top 10 guys each get a shot at the lineal champion. The point about it is, though, we don't have a lineal champion right now, so it's a little bit different. But usually, the number 1 ranked guy gets a shot at the lineal champion. Okay. All right. Let's move back here. So let's go all the way back into history. Let's go 1966. Now, this is going to be hard because you have to know the boxers. You got to know what was going on in the heavyweight division in 1966. Nonetheless, we're going to look at it. So, 1966, Muhammad Ali was the champion of the world at the time. All right? 1966. You guys can't see it, but it doesn't matter. Muhammad Ali, okay? He was the lineal champion. And he took on Ernie Terrell. All right? He had faced, I'm just telling you right now. He faced Zora Foley. I don't know if it was in 1966 or after, but he did face him. He never faced Thad Spencer. He did face Floyd Patterson. He faced Carl Mildenberger. He faced Joe Frazier. He faced Oscar Bonavina. He faced George Chuvalo. Whether it was before or after, I don't know. He never faced Johnny Persol. And did he face Manuel Ramos? I can't remember. It was a Mexican dude. Manuel Ramos. I don't know if he faced him or not. The point is, Ali pretty much worked his way down this list. Okay? Because he was the undisputed world champion. It was the WBC WBA world champion. It wasn't called WBC WBA. It was called WBC WBA. So he was the undisputed world champion. He had the 2 belts. And he worked his way anyway down. And he fought all these guys. Not in the same year, obviously. Over a span of time. He fought all these guys. But they're all on his listing. So just looking at the lineal champion, he fought most of these guys. Not all of them. Most of them. He never faced a Johnny Persol. I don't remember seeing that name. And who else? I'm not sure. There's a Thad Spencer on there. I don't know. Now the point is, did any of these guys face each other? Obviously they did. All right. I'm pretty sure Joe Frazier faced Floyd Patterson, for example, and Chuvalo would have faced some of these guys. George Chuvalo, he never got stopped in his career. So I'm just saying, okay? My point being that, once again, you have the top 10 guys here. They do face each other. And this was in 1966, okay? So just like how some of these guys on the top 10 list didn't face some of the guys on the top 10 list, okay? You have the same here going on. Now, the only difference is you had a linear champion. So they all got turns to be contenders and to actually fight the linear champion, because Molly made it a point to face them one by one, whoever was on the list. Okay? But I just wanted to show you guys that so you could understand, Vladimir Klitschko did the same thing. He kind of fought the guys one by one as well as they moved up the listing. And we don't have a linear champion right now, so you can't blame. And then we don't have an undisputed linear champion either. So it kind of makes it a little bit different. So that's why I said top 10. Because, again, most of the top 10 generally get a fight. 8 of the top 10 usually fight somebody in the top 10. And that either moves somebody up or down, as is the case. But that's not the only contributor. Even back in this day, this wasn't the contributor. How people got to be in the top 10 to start with. And 2, it's not necessarily fight somebody above you that makes you move up the top 10 list. Sometimes it's somebody below you. But it's the top 10 guys, so that factors into how you move up, okay, or move down. All right, so having said that, let's look at the welterweight division for a second, because I want to show you something else. And this happened throughout history, so I will show you that too. All right, so let's look at the welterweights for example. Let's look currently at the welterweights first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of this. Go back to the ring. And click on welterweight. So the welterweight division, because we want to look at top 10 welterweights. Because Manny Pacquiao is going to be facing Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman is the top tier welterweight, right? Top 5, whatever. Okay. So I'm going to use the ring again as my example. But I can also use BoxRec. So in the welterweight division, there's no lineal champion, obviously. But the number 1 welterweight according to the ring is Errol Spence Jr. The number 2 welterweight in the division is Terrence Crawford. Alright, let's keep it going. The number 3 welterweight in the division is Keith Thurman. That's according to the ring. The number 4 welterweight in the division is Sean Porter. The number 5 welterweight in the division is considered Manny Pacquiao. The number 6 welterweight in the division is Danny Garcia. Number 6 welterweight in the division is Dennis Ugas, according to them, the ring. Okay. Number 8 welterweight in the division is Jeff Horn. Even though Jeff Horn is no longer in the welterweight division. The number 9 welterweight in the division is this guy that they're saying they want to face Terrence Crawford, which is Egidijus Kavaliauskas from Lithuania. Alright, he's considered the number 9 welterweight in the division. And then, of course, Sergey Lipinets, who we know about, who just beat Lamont Peterson, he is considered the number 10 welterweight in that division. Let's look at BoxRec for a minute, just to see if this is sort of accurate, okay? Welterweight. All right. So, according to BoxRec, which we will come to now, all right, the number 1 welterweight in the division, according to BoxRec, we'll run it up a little bit, it's Terrence Crawford. I hope you can see that. It's a little bit blurry, but Terrence Crawford. Number 2 would be Errol Spence Jr. Number 3, Manny Pacquiao. See the same names. Number 4, Sean Porter. Number 5, Danny Garcia. Number 6, Dennis Ugas. Number 7, believe it or not, Keith Thurman, I guess because of his absence from the sport. Number 8 is a name, I don't know who the fuck, but it's Kudratilo Abdukakahorov. Holy shit, I don't know what that is. Chris Sam, what's up, man? What does tier mean? Tier just means level. Yeah. And then Amir Khan is number 9. I don't know how the fuck he became number 9. I guess because he faced some of the top tier competition like Terence Crawford. And then Sergey Lipinets is number 10. You'll notice, again, Lipinets is right where he's supposed to be. Most of the names are the same except for Amir Khan and Kudratilo Abdukakahorov, who could be the same dude if he's from Lithuania. I'm going to check and see right now. He's from Lithuania. Nope. No, he's from Malaysia. I don't know how the fuck. He's from Uzbekistan. I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but I don't even know how he came into the listings. But that's I guess politics or whatever. So what you end up with is, like, again, 2 guys who probably didn't face anybody in the top 10. But Amir Khan, he did face fucking Terence Crawford. Okay, so that's probably why. But if you look, Sergey Lipinets is one of the guys that didn't face any of the top 10 guys yet. But he will. Okay. Amir Khan did. That's one. Kudratilo Abdu, whatever the fuck his name is, never did. But everybody else, Keith Thurman, of course, Dennis Ugas just faced Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, who is in number 5. Well, the top 5 usually face each other. Okay? But if you look at the top 10, and that's why I say top 10, always, almost 8 out of the 10 face somebody in the top 10. That's just how it is. Alright? And I don't know who Kudratilo Abdu, what the fuck he I don't know who the fuck he is. He's like, just like the other guy. Whatever the fuck his name is. I can't remember. I know I'm cursing. I'm sorry about that. I don't mean it in a... You know, a lot of people think when you curse, they think that you're angry or something. But it's not necessarily angry. It's just... you're like, I don't know. That's basically what you're saying. Anywho. Right. So anyway. Ring Magazine, therefore, is very similar to the BoxRec, except that the Ring Magazine has 2 different names, right? And there's a little bit of a difference in the order at the very top. But at the end of the day, this is the guy that they wanted Terence Crawford to face. What the fuck is his name? And Jeff Horn is in there, where, you know, Egidijus Kavaliauskas. Egidijus Kavaliauskas from Lithuania. That motherfucker. He's undefeated and stuff, but who gives a fuck? I don't care, man. I don't care about this dude. I want to see Terence Crawford face Kell Brook. Kell Brook is not listed in the top 10 for multiple reasons. You know. But, you know, Jeff Horn, he faced Terence Crawford. Dennis Ugas, he faced Sean Porter. That was number 7. Number 6 is Danny Garcia. And he faced, you know, so number 6, 7, 8, fucking Galavagaskus or whatever the fuck his name. I don't give a fuck about him. And Sergey Lipinets has yet to also face top 10 guys. So again, 8 out of 10 people have faced top 10 guys. Now Sergey Lipinets, though, however, he faced a name in boxing, which was fucking Lamont Peterson. He faced a name in boxing, who was the regular champion until Manny Pacquiao beat Adrian Broner. How the fuck did he lose the WBA regular? That's a good question. I don't even know. I guess he was stripped or something. Whatever. Anyway, Sergey Lipinets beat Lamont Peterson, who was the WBA regular champion. I don't know what happened. Reminder study. Please close that fucking shit. Okay, so Let's look now at last year. Why I'm doing this is to show you the consistency of this top 10, first of all, and why they are top tier, and so on. I think Jeff Horn is no longer in welterweight, though. So if you look in the Ring magazine, let's go back here. Let's go to 2018, which would have been last year. Let's look at the top welterweights. I think Keith Thurman wasn't there, though. Did I click 2018? I'm pretty sure I clicked 2018. Hey, technology, man. It really sometimes pisses me off. Chris M. Chris M says Tevin Farmer and Davis, that would be Gervonta Davis, are not fighting each other and signed with different entities. Yeah. They may get around to facing each other. Don't worry about it. It just takes a little time sometimes. Okay, so in the welterweight division, we didn't have any linear champion in 2017. Errol Spence was the number 1 welterweight in the world, which Ring stays consistent to. Terrence Crawford was number 2. That's how they had the rankings last year. Keith Thurman was number 3. Sean Porter number 4. Manny Pacquiao number 5. It's pretty much the same. Danny Swift Garcia number 6. Edgerdigius Cavaliauskas was number 7. Yordes Ugas was number 8. Jeff Horn was number 9. Jesse Vargas was in the top 10. Jesse Vargas is no longer in the top 10 because Jesse Vargas is no longer at welterweight. Jeff Horn is no longer at welterweight either, so they need to update their list. But once again, if we look here, Jeff Horn faced Manny Pacquiao. Jesse Vargas faced Manny Pacquiao. Yordes Ugas faced Sean Porter. Edgerdigius, whatever the fuck his name is, didn't face anybody. Danny Swift Garcia, who's number 6, faced Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. My point being, again, just 1 out of the top 10 didn't face any top 10 opponents. All right. So, my point is that to tell me that the top 10 guys don't face each other and stuff like that, it's first of all, to move up into top 10 rankings and to move up to be number 1 top 10, you're going to eventually fight a top 10 fighter. You can't become number 1 top 10 without facing a top 10 fighter. It's just not possible. And Dillian Whyte did face top 10 fighters, by the way, to become at a number 1 spot. It's just what it is. All right? Of course, you have to look at if the guy was top 10 at the time you faced him. He may not be currently top 10. See? So you just go through the ring in history here. You go through the history of the ring. You know, you just look at when the fighter faced that dude and what was the guy's ranking by the ring if he was a top 10 fighter at the time the guy faced him. It's pretty much that simple. All right? So I say all of this to let you know that I don't agree with what Get This Smoke was saying about, you know, top 10. He does top 5 because the top 5 face each other, but top 10 because not the top 10 don't face each other, which is not true. Usually, top 10 fighters face each other. There's usually somebody who enters the top 10 and leaves, but at the end of the day, you have to look at that. And why I say that is because I do recall Floyd facing Marcos Maidana. Marcos Maidana just routed Adrian Broner, blew through the welterweight division, knocking out everybody, and then became WBA champion. But Marcos Maidana was ranked in the top 10 at number 9. He had just entered the top 10 division because of his performances. Okay? And Marcos Maidana hadn't faced... I think Adrian Broner was a top 10 welterweight at the time. Marcos Maidana hadn't faced a bunch of top 10 fighters. The only one he faced was Adrian Broner. Right? So I'm just saying that... And Floyd faced number 9. So what I'm saying is that why I say top 10 is because, you know, a guy at, say, number 1 or number 2 could face anybody in the top 10. That's another point I wanted to make. That it's okay for a lineal champion to fight any one of the top 10 opponents. It's okay. It's when you start to go outside the top 10, you know, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, that we start to say, okay, this is more of a stay busy fight for you. You know, because you know any one of those top 10 is not necessarily a contender, but they're close to becoming contenders. So that's why the convention is we talk about top 10. We don't talk about top 15. We don't talk about top 20. We talk about top 10 usually. And if I want to show you something else, so let me go to the WBC to show you what I'm talking about here. I should have really pulled this up before. It's going to take some time to do. While that's happening, so the World Boxing Council, they have their own. They have their own. Where it is. They have their own rankings. Motherfucker. Oh shit. Hold on a second. Let me just try to find it. Oh, fuck this Twitter. On Twitter. I think this might be it. The World Boxing Council. I'm going to start with the WBC, probably do the WBA. Just to show you the consistency. I have to wait. The fuck? Ah! God damn it. This thing is taking forever. Shit, man. Like, really? Okay. Can I roll up or down? I hate when fucking technology's so fucking slow. It's pissing me off. Are we gonna move or what? Is this news? Come on, motherfucker. Come on. The fuck is it moving so fucking slow, man? WBC. Come on, motherfucker. See in the next fucking century to do. Come on. Champions and arenas. Okay. See, if I was using this phone, it'd be a lot faster. This fucking phone is so fucking slow. It's taking forever. I don't give a fuck about Boxer of the Month, motherfucker. Move. Scroll. Come on, bitch. Scroll. Fuck. Download ratings. I don't fucking download ratings. What the fuck is that? It's showing me everything but what the fuck I want to see. I want to see fucking ratings. And they want me to the fucking ratings committee. What the fuck? I don't give a fuck about all this shit. Where the fuck is the ratings? God damn it. The fuck is all this? What the fuck? Where's my weight class? WBC since 1963. Good. You fucking... What the fuck? Can't even scroll up quickly. See, this is the stuff that really pisses me off. I knew I was supposed to set this up. This is consuming a whole bunch of fucking time. Fucking VADA. VADA's part of their program. Yeah, weight classes. Champion download female ratings. I don't want to fucking download any fucking ratings. The fuck? You're already fucking slow. Show me the motherfucking ratings. You dumb motherfucker. I wanted to show you they start off with the top 10 and then they work their way down. I wanted to show you the display on the fucking phone. And I can't. It's so fucking stupid. Why would I have to download fucking ratings? You should be able to show me it on your fucking website. What a fucking piece of shit. Powered by BoxRec. I guess I have to go to fucking BoxRec. That is so fucking stupid. So I'm just gonna go to BoxRec. Move! Get your fucking ass out of the way. What the fuck? See how much cuss I curse like crazy, don't I? You motherfucker. Fucking asshole. What was that? Okay, good. So I just go to fucking BoxRec. I wanted to show you from the WBC site because they used to highlight the top 10. They highlight the top 10 and then they move from there. This motherfucker doesn't even want to start. What the fuck? Oh man. Yeah. The way how they have it is top 15, which is fighting news, but that's not the way how it is in the actual fucking site, which I can't pull up. So fuck that. All right, it's taking too much fucking time. So anyway, let's see here. Oh man, I don't know. I just had a energy failure. I just lost a lot of energy in one sleep. Tevin Farmer and Davis not fighting each other inside were different. Okay. Chris M. Shout out to Chris M. Yeah, so guys, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I hope you guys have a good day. I am now about to just crash for a minute and then get back up and start back working again. So, I hope you guys have a good one. That's all I had to say in my video. Peace. I'm out.